If you like landscape photography and medium format cameras, then this is the video for you. Welcome, my name is Stephen. I'm a landscape photographer based right here in New Zealand, and in today's video we're going to be taking out the Fujifilm GFX 50S2 out west to the coast to do some seascapes, and it's a fantastic adventure. There's some storms, we get really wet, and it turned out to be a beautiful sunset. I really hope you enjoy the video. Cheers. So, got my bag, check. Yep, you sure can. Here we go. Here's the little fella.
Hey mates! We're all my best buds.
Have you got your bag?
Yeah.
Have you got your supplies?
Yeah.
Cool, should we go and have a little adventure?
Yeah, let's do that, come on.
Come on, let's go.
What's a bit
Are we ready to go, little fella?
Sure, I'm low.
Let's do it. Let's fire up the engine. Time to go for a drive.
Dad,
Yeah.
what did Pip squeak?
Let's do it. So we're here today at Carfia Beach, and what a beautiful beach this is, black sand. I don't know if you can see behind me here, but there are these massive thunderclouds rolling in. There's a bit of a storm moving over, and just out to the ocean's clear blue skies. So we've kind of got this transition where we've got some nice blue sky and some really kind of gnarly clouds, and it's creating all this atmosphere. So I've just set up my camera just here, and I want to move down towards the ocean. So I've set it up back from the waves so that I don't get wet, and I'm going to kind of make my way down. I've got my 45 to 100mm lens on, and I've already kind of scoped it out in my viewfinder app, and I think the focal length that I need is 100mm. And I've got my ND filters and polarizers ready in my pocket just in case. So I think we are about time to take some photographs, and we need to do this quickly because if we hang around too long we're probably going to get very wet. So let's do some photography. Watch out for the tide, Eddie. Just there behind you. It's getting close. Yeah, so I think we just got a shot here. Just going to frame it up and zoom in. Oh, the rain's starting. And then everything turned to chaos. Well, we did just get absolutely drenched then. Just as I was setting up, the heavens opened up and it absolutely poured and we got absolutely drenched. I didn't even get to put the filters on my camera. I just quickly scurried off towards the back of the beach to get off the beach, and then the rain calmed a little bit. So as I'm trying to wondering around what to do, I decided to continue shooting, although I didn't vlog because it was kind of on and off whether it was going to rain or not, and it did continue to rain. But I just wanted to get some shots while I was here, and I did get some shots, and they look pretty special, I think. Square crop, they were all taken with a 45 to 100mm lens. There was a couple at 100mm, and there was a couple at 45mm, and possibly one or two in between. And I was just picking out the mood, just kind of focusing on the mood from that storm as it kind of blew through, and using some foreground interest to try and lead your eye up into the storm areas in the photo, and where there was mountains in the background I was trying to use the foreground to lead the eye up into the picture that way. So yeah, took 4 or 5 images. I'll put them up on the screen. I hope you enjoy them. Leave me some comments. And now we're going to go for a bit more of a drive and perhaps try and get some more shots, maybe from the car or from the roadside, just handhold. And yeah, see what we find. Hope you enjoy them. I really do like the sweeping leading lines that lead you right up into the storm there, where it's raining quite heavily. And I really do like the contrast in this image between the light and the dark and the soft and the sharp. In this photo I used the contrast between the black sand and the subtle blue hues on the water to create a leading line that leads your eye up towards the mountain in the distance, and the break in the clouds there just allowed enough light to come in and paint that water with a nice blue hue, and in the foreground there you can just see how hard the rain was coming down. So we have just driven up the country a little bit to a place called Outea Harbour, which is another harbour that's just slightly above where we were before. So I'm just adjusting the filter here on the front for the brightness. And yeah, it's a beautiful place. I'll just show you quickly. It's a four-wheel drive access, so we just drove on just here. And off in the distance you can just see behind me here, there is a bit of a rainbow happening because there is a bit of a storm happening over there. But then when you look behind me, we've got all this bright light coming through. And I really love the turquoise colour of this water. And it just looks really flat. And I was using these details here, you can just see here where the sand and water is mixed and there's all these ripples. And I was just hand holding some shots with my 45 to 100mm lens. Just try out a few different focal lengths. Don't know how they're going to turn out, but I like the way they look through the viewfinder. And yeah, just a nice simple shot, just all about tones and textures and leading lines, and I hope you enjoy them. I'll put them up on the screen now. Give me some comments and we will continue this adventure. What really stood out to me in the landscape here is that turquoise blue water, and I really love the contrast between it and the black sand. And there really are some quite nice textures and leading lines in the foreground there that help the eye move up through the image into that soft, beautiful negative space in the sky. So we did just drive up from the coast, up through a beautiful road through backcountry of New Zealand, just here where we are in the Waikato, and we went from sea level up to 500 metres above sea level, and the sun is setting right now. And as we were driving up, there was some really interesting play in the light on the land as we were driving up this country road. I didn't quite find any compositions that I liked, but I did quite like the light. It was really interesting. And where we are now, we've just come to a place that's a bit less than 500 metres, but we're on the opposite side of Mount Pirongia to where we were before. And we're just quite high up here, we're about 400 metres, just looking down into the valley here. And off in the distance there is a volcano, an old volcano called Mount Kakipuku. And I recently did another vlog there where I shot a panoramic, and I'll link that, it'll come up here, and just go and watch that. I made that video using the Fujifilm GFX 50S2, quite a nice panoramic, I really liked it. Go watch it, I think you'll like it. But I've come up to this place, we've found this place now, and it's just given us this great view down off into the landscape. And I'll talk you through my composition in a second, but basically there's Kakipuku just down there. Kakipuku's just down here. And off in the distance we've got another mountain called Sanctuary Mountain. And then we've got these trees in the foreground that have got a bit of a curve going on. And I'm using that as a compositional tool in the foreground to kind of slingshot the eye in from the bottom left up to the right. And I framed it up in a way that they point to Mount Kakipuku. And then just behind Mount Kakipuku is Sanctuary Mountain. And there's lots of high level and medium cloud right now. And this is the aftermath of a storm. And if you don't know anything about weather and landscape photography, the best time to shoot landscape photography can be just before or just after a storm. So what we've got is these remnants of storm clouds hanging around off in the distance down there, but off over in the west here where the sun is setting, it's clear skies. So I'm anticipating that these clouds are going to go red, fingers crossed. I've anticipated that in the past and been wrong, but I'm kind of 90% sure that we're going to get some nice glow on these mountains very, very soon. Time wise, we are 25 to 8, sunset is at 8. And as you can see in the landscape, there's bits of light still around. Off in the distance, Sanctuary Mountain has still got some light on its peak. And there's some light down here where the sun's actually setting and the light is getting past the mountain where we are now, further down that way. So the mountain that we're stood on right now is actually casting a shadow down into this valley, which you can actually see. So now it's just about waiting. We just need to wait for the light to happen, and while we're waiting, I think I'm going to talk you through my composition. So this is our composition here, and as you can see, we've got this band of trees that let me just zoom out a bit. This band of trees that are darker than the grass, and they are just leading your eye in, and then they are leading your eye up to this volcano Kakippuku right here. And as we're talking, there's actually some quite nice light just coming in from the right hand side here, coming in. You can just see it here, this light just kind of coming through. So I might just take a shot here. I'm just going to frame this up, and I might zoom in a bit more. That looks good. Yeah. We have got a little tree on the bottom here. I don't know if I can show you that. There's a little, here there's like a little fence post, so we'll have to remove that in post-processing. But I'm focusing on the volcano. We are at f8, which will give us plenty of depth of field because we're quite high up, and those trees down here, I want these to be sharp here. This foreground area I not necessarily want to be sharp because I don't want the eyes hanging around. You know, when you look at the image, I don't want people's eyes hanging around too much at the bottom, so it doesn't need to be sharp. The sharpness needs to start here, and then it needs to run up to that volcano. I'm just going to take a shot of that. I'm just going to put my timer on. Two-second timer.
I initially had my camera set up for a square crop for this photo, however when I was editing it I found that an aspect ratio of 16:9 suited it better because that ratio captures the most important parts of the landscape.
So I'm going to play around with this a little bit and adjust my composition slightly perhaps with the tripod, and just really try and home in on this bit here, on this foreground. At the minute we've kind of got half the foreground in the frame and half on the top, and I don't typically like that. I normally quite like to either emphasise the foreground or emphasise the sky. So I would quite like to be able to adjust this composition a little bit. We'll see what the light does and we will make some adjustments. Well, the light is starting to kick off. You can just see some of the nice light in the clouds here. It's peaceful up here, it's very nice. We are 5 minutes to 8 and very close to the sunset. I'll just quickly show you my composition. So this is the composition we're looking at, and as you can see, I'll just get rid of this. We have pointed the camera up to the sky, so we've got this in the foreground, the volcano Kakippuku in the distance, and then the nice sky. I'm just going to take a photo of that because that's looking pretty good. Yeah, it's looking beautiful.
I really like this photo because it just captures the last glimpse of light on the mountains there, and I think the 16:9 aspect ratio again works really well with this photo because it captures the most important parts of the landscape. And even though I've cropped this photo to 16:9, I'd still do think that by composing my images in square crop really helped me pick out the details that were most important for this photo.
Yeah, so there's lots of nice light happening now, and we are just going to ride this one out, and we're just going to get as many shots as we can. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm hoping that as the sun dips down past the horizon, it's going to scatter lots of really red nice light up onto these high level clouds, storm clouds, and they're just going to go bang with redness. That's the plan. It is kicking off over there a little bit as well. So excited. Look at the clouds. So this is the composition we're working with, and I'm really quite liking this, but there's one thing that's bugging me a little bit about it, and that's the clouds here on the left. There's just too much of that bright cloud on the left. I would prefer it if there was a more even spread across the sky, and I think that's because of the stage of the sunset, and I'm hoping that as the sun sets further, these clouds here on the right hand side will start to glow as well. But so far so good, it's looking pretty special. Yeah.
I really do like the soft, low contrast, painterly effects of this photo. Those nice dark trees in the foreground there really do act as a good curved leading line to lead the eyes up to the mountains on the horizon.
Looking good. I did bump my ISO up to ISO 200. I do kind of feel like ISO 100 is too soft. Coming from a film background, I'm a bit more used to seeing some grain in the images, and I think having a bit of grain in the images actually increases the sharpness. So now that the light's come down a little bit, we've got a bit more balance in the image. So I just switch that on there and get rid of that. As you can see, there's a bit more balance now through the image. It's not as bright on the left here, and but we have got kind of like this. Starting at the bottom, we've got the trees slinging your eye in, and we've got the mountains, and then we've got this diagonal line of brightness. I'm just going to take that shot because that's looking good. So I think it's starting to come together quite nicely now. We've got some nice leading lines going on, we've got some nice objects. We've got a nice vantage point looking down on these mountains. And the sky is starting to look really quite nice now. Nice, subtle, soft. fluffy, nicely coloured clouds with some really nice foreground interest.
So out of all the photos we took on this sunset shoot, this is the only square crop one that I really like, for the reasons that we spoke about in the video. The more compressed view of the square crop aspect ratio in this photo really helps focus the eye on that curved leading line in the foreground that helps the eyes move up towards those mountains on the horizon. And I really do like the soft red hues of those clouds in the sky, and I think they do act as a bit of a diagonal leading line that help the eye move up through that beautiful negative space.
And there we have it. I think we've had the best of it. There is still some quite nice clouds over this way, and I can see off in the distance this way some quite nice clouds, some nice red clouds. But where our main subjects are right now, we don't have clouds. So I just nearly kicked my tripod over, making sure I'm locked on the camera here with the autofocus. So yeah, I think we're going to end the video here now. I think we've had a really good day. A good adventure, a good explore of where I live around here. Been over to the coast, got rained on quite badly, but still managed to get some shots. Then we did some driving on a beach and took some shots there, and then we came up the mountain to this lovely vantage point that gives us an awesome view down off into the valley here, which is actually where I live. I live where these two mountains are to the left. That's where I live down there. So I'm very lucky to live where I live, and I'm really happy I found this spot that gave me a beautiful, beautiful picture of the landscape where I live. So that's it for today's video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave some comments on the photos. I will put the best photos from these images up, and yeah, give me some comments. Subscribe to the channel. I hope you have a fantastic day and having a fantastic weekend, and hope next week for you guys goes really well. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.